Well,
So
let's get
anyway,
started and hope more people show up.
I hope so too.
I did get an email today. I'll throw it out there. See what you have to say. Hi, my name is Jeremy Gill, and I'm a local history librarian at the Hayes Public Library in Hayes, Kansas. I am contacting you today because I conduct a virtual genealogy club once a month. I've been looking for new ideas, and when I searched online, your library's page was the first thing to come back. I'd like to chat about some possible ideas. So what would you suggest?
Oh, there's Dave.
What?
We got Dave now.
Yeah. He's been sitting there.
Sounds like we're world famous now.
Yeah. So we did the blogs, and then we did the RSS feed, and we talk about different classes that people have taken, conferences, right?
Mhm.
And,
Right.
And what else do we have we covered? Today we're doing different cloud apps. Is that what you'd call them?
What's that?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Evernote is no
Oh,
longer
okay.
the thing.
Well, I'll tell you my experience with Evernote when it's time.
Yeah. And what other subjects have we covered that you can think
I'll talk about Apple Notes if you want.
Okay.
So I'll just tell him some of those ideas of the things we've covered. It's
Oh,
kind of
there's Steve
interesting.
Johnson. Okay.
Hi.
Hey, Steve.
Hi.
And another
Hi.
thing, I've mentioned this to Tom, but it's kind of fun that last week I got an email from a woman named Pia Bollinger Norgard from Sweden, a little town called Ekero, or with the O has an umlaut. I don't know how to pronounce it. I wish we had help here with Swedish, but
Actually, you do. Hey, you do with Christina. She's fluent in it.
yeah. Well, I wish she were here, but this woman in Sweden said that her great aunt married someone in Chicago and moved to the she moved to the United States, married someone, and then moved up to Door County. So she was trying to find information about this great aunt. And the great aunt's name was Ellen Christina Carlson with a K and 2 S's, and she married a Richard Griffin. So I did some research and found the obituaries, of course, for the for both Christina and Richard. And he had an orchard up here. She mentioned that he had an orchard up here. So I found a little bit about that. I found where the orchard was. It was a Sackett orchard originally that they bought in the 40s, just north of Sturgeon Bay in Sevastopol. And then I found out that in the obituaries, it mentioned that both Richard and Christina were married twice. So it mentioned their the first husband and the first wife. And this Pia in Sweden had no idea about the first marriage of her great aunt. So that opened up a whole new family tree. And the interesting thing when I looked on Ancestry was they had Christina. Some family trees had Christina married to Richard Griffin and had complete, information about that marriage and the kids and everything. Other family trees had her married to her first husband, his last name was Malberg, and he was, they settled in Minnesota, I think it was at that time. And so they had that couple, but nobody had her with her 2 marriages, which I think is kind of interesting how that happens, right?
Yeah.
So Pia's sent me how she's added the whole thing to her family tree. So that was kind of fun. It's really exciting when we get email from somewhere distant like that. So I wanted to just mention that. And anyone have anything else to talk about that they've done this week?
Well, I'll mention that. I think I told you, Laura, but I'll mention that I started watching because I kept getting these, the newsletter from the Family History Library in Salt Lake City, which by the way is closed, as you would imagine. But anyway, they send out a newsletter every week telling you what classes they have and webinars they have. And of course, they're free webinars as opposed to, Wisconsin Wisconsin Historical Society They charge you $40 for them, but the history library, they're all free and they're on various topics. Like I think one today, or no, not today, tomorrow, I believe is on Irish genealogy.
Right.
And then I think one next Friday is on British genealogy. The two I had listened to were kind of basic ones. One was on how to use the library catalog, how the various ways, and how to use the catalog on Family Search. And I did learn a few things that I didn't know you could do because I probably just never really even tried it. And it worked out pretty good. It was very worthwhile spending the hour listening to it. And then the second one today was on the research process and the importance of setting up a goal of what you're trying to do. But first, of course, collecting everything you do know, setting up a goal of what you're trying to do. And you don't want a goal of, I want to learn more about Joe Blow, or Joe Ancestor. You want to say, I want to know who Joe Ancestor's parents were, or you want to know where was Joe born. Those are reasonable goals. To say that I want to learn more about Joe Ancestor is not a reasonable goal. You don't know what your end state is, for one thing, and you don't know what, it's so broad. It's very difficult to really get focused. And then the next thing, if I'm looking for a birth certificate, where are the places that I should go to get a birth certificate? And they may not be just, on the internet. You may have to go to the courthouse or to a church or something or contact them to get. And so it was, and also the importance of keeping a research log of what you're doing, especially the very complicated ones. And the guy said, do not believe anything on Ancestry.com that doesn't have a source. He said, you can use it as a guide. He said, but don't believe it because there's just too much stuff. And he gave an example of his own family where his great grandfather, they had the mother right, but they didn't have the father right. And so, he showed where the correct one was because the correct person was. So that was worthwhile. It was kind of a rehash of things I already knew, but it did bring it into focus. But keep in mind that you can get that newsletter just by asking for it from Family Search, and it's free and it comes out as an email every week. And what the ones are coming up, and then once a month, the first of the month, they send out a tabulation of all of them for the next month. So it's very worthwhile to check into.
Do they record any of them where you can go
They
back?
do record them. Yes, they do record them. At least the two that I attended, they recorded them, and they're on the Family History Library Facebook page. And you go to the Facebook page, and then you go to their events, and you look for webinars. And they'll have the recording of the webinar that you attend. Even if you attend it, it's still there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they do a live feed, in fact.
Sorry about that.
So you can, if you want to get to it through Facebook rather than something else, you can do that rather than Zoom or whatever. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was very, very worthwhile.
I did two of their classes. One was an all-day class. There was 4 sessions to it on German history.
Yeah.
And they went way back to the early days as to how you can kind of learn to track through it. And the one thing they did that was really kind of cool in that one was they spent quite a bit of time working on the wiki, how to research through the wiki and their learning center and their community site. And I found that I took a lot of notes on that because it's not as easy as just clicking on it, but if you have a little bit of a guide to go through it, there is information and assistance out there more than anybody could ever recognize, and it's all free to get. And they'll even answer your own questions you may come up with doing that. But they went through the whole modern Germany, the pre modern area, the Holy Roman Empire, and through all of that into Prussia. Then they did something on reading through the family registrars as to how to understand them, because there's a lot of information in there. And of course, it's all in German, so you have to either get it translated, and there are ways to do that, but they kept pretty good records in their churches. And then the last session was that day was on the historical newspapers in Germany, which ones you can count on, which ones you can't, and which ones were in the US. So that was good. And I did one on Norway, because we have relatives with generations from the Norwegian area on immigration records. And they probably were even more fastidious than the Germans in keeping their records in the baptismals at the churches. And so if you can find a record and find where they were born or baptized, just about everything you need is right there in one packet. And so that was pretty cool. I haven't had a chance to really dig out into it yet, but that's still my project for the rest of the winter.
Yeah, I've
So-
heard that about the Norwegians, that they're extremely organized.
Well, if you knew my grandfather and how stodgy they were, yeah, they're pretty meticulous.
Well, that's interesting. I did get the newsletter this week from the Wisconsin Historical Society in 2 classes. That sounded interesting, but $40 is over my limit. I don't have
me
the
too.
time for that.
Well, there's so much
Yeah.
stuff out there, you don't need to, at this
Right.
stage,
Right.
Yeah,
you just
That's
don't need to spend
exactly
that kind of
right.
bucks.
Yeah, exactly right.
and I suppose it's kind of a donation to them, but as you say, there's so much out there, and you only have so much time, right?
Yeah. It's hard to keep up with what I got already.
Oh, yeah, I've got a couple places that I want to do, and it's just impossible, but
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
you can spend a fortune if you bought into all the different sites and all the different information out there.
Mhm.
But I think Family Search, Tom, you've spent more time on it than I have, I'm sure, by tons. Just about everything's there. It seems like everything goes
Yeah.
back to Family Search when you're all said and done.
Yeah, yeah, it's surprising. Even, on Ancestry, you look at it, and the actual source of the information is a family search or
Yeah,
a
I'm
family
finding
history
that time
library.
and time again. So I just go into
Yeah.
Family Search and save
Yeah,
stuff.
it's all free. It's all free,
And they'll
the
flow
problem-
it right into
with-
your
The
database.
problem with Family Search is I think the universal tree that they're trying to have, or the worldwide tree,
Yes.
because people can change it. And that, there was a note brought up during the session this morning that somebody said, well, I just finally got off of that tree because people changed what I put out there, and I had sources for it all, this fellow said, and somebody came in and changed it all. And they don't have any sources. They just changed it, and he says, that's ridiculous,
I
So,
downloaded some things from Family Search because it's a pretty nifty little way of doing it, that you can just kind
Yeah.
of map it out and slide it across. But I wouldn't take anything that didn't have a third-party source.
oh yeah, well, the same way with Ancestry, you got to have a.
And so it's pretty clean that
track of
way.
it.
Mhm.
And everything I found was all pretty well sourced out, so I was pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
Has
Well-
anyone tried that family wiki tree site? Where people
No,
add
I
things,
haven't.
but they try to be
Yeah,
strict about it.
Yeah, I haven't tried it. I've seen it
No.
advertised, but I've not tried it.
You
I
know,
And
haven't
that's
either.
not part of Family Search. That's different.
Oh,
Yeah,
it is.
it's a different
Okay.
site.
Yeah. Yeah, it's totally independent. It's like
But yeah, what?
Geni or, yeah,
It's called Wiki.
GENI. That's another one that's separate too.
I found some weird things, or unusual things on that wiki tree site. When I was poking around in a gentleman, I think he's in Australia, who had put up some things about the name was the same as our family in Saxony in the early 1800s. And he got his information from the Nazi records that were confiscated. Where the Nazis required
Yeah.
people to do family trees to prove their heritage.
Yeah.
And our guys came over in the 1840s, but the name was the same and the village was the same. So I haven't seen that anywhere else. I don't know how he got that, but he had it up there. So that was kind of
They,
interesting.
they have it, I believe they have it now in Family Search.
Do they?
Where, in fact, yeah, I just saw something, but yes, if you wanted to be in the SS, you
Yeah.
had to go back 5 generations and prove that you were pure, okay? And so that information exists, but the last time I looked at it, it was you had to, the statute of limitations was still in effect. And so you couldn't get into it. But I don't know if that's changed or what,
Yeah.
but maybe it has, but because I have my mother's father's family was Laabs. I think I mentioned this before, Laabs, and there was a man who was in the SS and was a ambulance driver or a hearse driver, whatever we want to call it, at one of the concentration camps and furnace facilities. And he was a criminal, obviously a war criminal, but it's the same name as my grandfather. Okay. And so I saw that and I was checking into it. And it turns out that 2 different men, but it's the same family, it's a family. So it's related somewhere back. And I was hoping that I could go back 5 generations through this Nazi. And that's why but I couldn't. So.
Well, my
But that's-
understanding is those records were confiscated by the United States during the war,
Yes.
and they're in the National Archives.
Yes, and there's
probably
also
there.
some in the German
Yeah.
archives, the National Archives over there. I
Mhm.
know that when we had the luck to go over there to Germany a couple of years ago, and we went to Dachau, and Dachau was where this all started, and that was where they had the SS training facility was at Dachau.
Mhm.
And it was quite obviously, you had on one side of the fence, you had all this Spartan, prison camp. And on the other side of the fence, you had all these palatial buildings where the SS and their families all lived, and it was quite obviously the dichotomy between the two was remarkable, but yeah.
Well, speaking of the Nazis, next week we do have a program with this lady from Wisconsin who wrote about her father, Alfred, and she'll be talking about the book she wrote based on the research she did of her father's time in World War II under Patton. So if you're interested in that, join us. I think it's Thursday afternoon.
Oh, okay. Say, by the way, I'm glad you mentioned that because I read the book about the 40 thieves in Saipan.
Yeah,
That's a very good book. Very.
I agree.
It only covers about a month or so in the activities, maybe a little more of of the people. But I thought that was a very good book for a war book. They didn't go over. I didn't think they went overboard in explaining or going through, the brutality of it. But there was enough that you knew what was going. Obviously knew what was going on. But to see how that affected those 40 thieves. That was a very good book. I enjoyed that one. I highly recommend it. Anybody is somewhat, interested in World War II.
I think it's recently won some sort of military book award too, which is kind of fun. And then, of course, that gentleman became the mayor of Sturgeon Bay.
Right, he did. Yes,
Which is amazing.
and I don't know if his son still lives in Sturgeon Bay or not.
Yeah.
I think he's in Minnesota. Joe.
Oh, okay.
They call him Tiger. His sister is Mary. I think she just died. Is that right? Right, Dahovsky lived out on the lake, and another brother was an actor in Minnesota. He died, but Tiger or Joe was a restaurant owner in Madison for many, many, many years.
Mm.
And they used to own the Office Lounge, I think it is, or whatever, the Executive Inn.
Yeah, I remember that.
and he ran for Congress, the subject of the book, And as Democrat and lost, he ran against John Burns, which would be impossible to win against him. But as patronage or whatever, they named him the postmaster.
Oh, interesting.
Well, and we'll see how this lady does. I did take out the book from the library. We haven't got a copy here yet in this library, but I got it from outside, about her father, Alfred, and it looks really good. She has a lot of documents in there that she's obviously uncovered through genealogy research and whatever else. I'm interested because my dad was under patent also. So I've always been a little curious, but I've never taken the time to really dive into it in depth the way she did. So my dad actually had a camera and he took hundreds of pictures over there. But apparently her father was in a different unit or whatever they call them. So it should be fun next week.
Good.
So Tom, do you want to tell us about your adventures with Evernote and then switching over to OneDrive
Right, sure. If you can,
or
if you
saving
can,
your information?
yeah, I've got a publish or a PowerPoint.
Oh yeah, let me.
So you can, if I can get it to work right.
Okay, I think I've got it so you can share now. See if you go to the bottom under share screen. Are you allowed to share?
Okay, let's see if I got a share.
Should be green.
Oh yeah, share screen. I got that up at top.
Yeah.
So what do I look for under share screen? Wherever I have this, huh?
When you do it, it will, if you click on it, it'll open a box and you'll see what's on your different options you can choose from on your computer desktop.
Yeah, I see that. Now I got to figure out where it is. Okay. I wonder where it is. I don't see. Okay, screen,
Yep.
Photos, iCloud
Did you open a
Drive.
browser? Do you have a browser open, a second browser open back there? Is that how you would access?
Yeah, that's where I was. Yeah, that's what I thought. Oh boy,
Oh,
I
go
wasn't
ahead
told
and
on that.
open it.
Let's see. Well, that didn't do it. Okay, connect to a box. No, let's see. No, that's not it. Okay, I messed that up. See if I can get back to where I'm supposed to be. Oh dear.
What browser do you use?
I use Chrome, or no, yeah, Google and Chrome.
Okay, open Chrome completely, then come back, click in your taskbar if you can to go back
Okay.
to Zoom.
All right, there's Chrome. I got Chrome open. Now I can go to it.
Go back to Zoom and then click that little box, the green thing, and then the box, and then you'll see the Chrome browser there.
Okay, where is it? Where's, oh yeah.
You should have
Oh,
practiced.
I found it. I got it. Okay, can you see anything?
Not
white
yet, but you
slides?
have your camera turned off. Maybe that makes a difference.
Okay, I got my camera turned off. Oh, wonderful.
Right.
All right, where do I have, now let's see. I gotta get that right, huh?
We should have
Yeah,
practiced.
now where is that?
I just sent you a request to open it.
Okay, so, well, on my Zoom,
Mhm.
when I click on Zoom, I get my presentation. So, oh, no, I don't. I'm sorry. Host has asked you to start your video. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Now that's
Okay.
working. Now see if you can open that box and then
Okay.
double click on the Chrome browser that appears there.
Okay. Oh, that's under, okay. Zoom. Okay, I'm here at Zoom and I don't see any Chrome browser. I'm sorry, people.
It's not,
Screen,
did you open the white box?
white box.
If you click on the green share screen,
Yeah,
it should open a white box that has the
Says-
various options, including a whiteboard.
okay, let me try that again. Okay, whoop.
And I
I
can
should have
see,
done this. Okay, all right, here are my options in that box. Screen, Photos, iDrive, iCloud, Dropbox, OneDrive, SharePoint, Microsoft SharePoint, Google Drive, Box, website URL,
Well,
post
choose the one you want to show us.
whiteboard.
No,
Oh, that'd
probably
be cool.
drop. You were going to show us OneDrive, right?
Yeah, I guess it's in OneDrive. Let's hope it is. Okay. Shoot. Connect to
Well-
OneDrive.
We'll have to.
Tom Weisensell, okay. Please confirm your date of birth. Okay, I don't know why it's doing
That
this.
doesn't sound quite right, does it?
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to make sure I save it to one box and then I can open it that way.
Yeah. In the meantime, I did do a little research.
Yeah, go ahead. Let me check on that. I'll do
See
that.
if I can get. Does everyone see this?
Yes.
I got a black screen.
You got a black
Zoom.
screen.
I lost it. Well, now I got it. Storage.
This is a chart from PC Magazine. And these are some various storage services that you can try to use. And one of them is, it's so wide that I tried to make it a little narrower, but one of them you can see is OneDrive here, which is connected to a Microsoft account. And I think it's interesting to see if you're going for free storage, not paid storage, there are the different amounts of free storage that these services give you. So it's really interesting that Google gives you 15 gigabytes. Whereas a lot of people use Dropbox and it only gives you 2 free gigabytes. I use box.com and that gives you 10. So if you're going to make a choice between those two, I would choose the 10. And then OneDrive gives you 5, which is not too bad. So I thought that would be interesting for people to see the difference.
Definitely.
So I'm going to stop sharing.
Question?
Okay, now
You guys
I think I got
You
it.
talked
So,
about that Irish thing.
I'll go to share.
I'm talking about the Irish class tomorrow. I don't find it on, I'm not familiar with family history, but I don't find it on their webinars.
Did you try looking on their Facebook page? He said a lot of them are.
I went to the regular page and so I went to the Facebook page and it doesn't have it on tomorrow. There's library classes and all that, but I'd like to be able to do that
Oh,
tomorrow.
do you mean our website, or the family search one you were?
Somebody said today, Irish tomorrow.
Yeah, I think Tom was talking about the family search webinars.
And Family History Library.
Right, and they don't
It's
have.
not, I can't see it, find it on there, and I went to Facebook and the regular site.
Well, I'll do a little
Okay.
research to see if I can find it later on and send you email if I do.
Well, Tom must know where it is.
Or he may, yeah.
Yep.
Tom, do you know where
Hey,
that is?
Let me get this done first, then I'll show you.
Okay,
how
I'll
to-
shut up.
So one drive is something you download, or is it a browser?
Yeah, well, OneNote, okay, OneNote is a similar to Evernote, okay? It has the same thing. It's a note-taking software package that you can do various things with. You can download files. I can read my notes. Just reading my notes. It's a note-taking and data organization application that kind of mimics what you would do with a notebook or a binder, where you take notes or on something, like you go to a class and you take notes. Well, you can write those notes right on Evernote. Excuse me, on one, I hope I don't do that very much, on OneNote, and save that right into a page, on a page, and then you can assign that page ultimately to a notebook that you set up, okay? And then you can add all kinds of pages to various notebooks. You can umpteen number of notebooks. It's not really structured in a sense, but you can put tables in there. You could Excel tables, you can do pictures, you can do videos, you can do auto notes, you can do to-do lists, screen capture photos, text. You can assign all those to pages, which you assign ultimately to a notebook. And the neat thing is that they're all searchable. And you can set up, if you really want to get anal about it, you can set up specific tags for each one of the pages, however like you could in Evernote. You could do the same thing, or you can just search on the whole set of notes that you have or pages you have with any list that you want or any name that you want. Let's say you've got a whole bunch of, like I have like 1,200 or so notes and pages. And if I want to know something about one of my ancestors, I just put his name in and it'll bring up every page. It'll list every page where his name is on it that I put in there. Okay. And same way, if I wanted to know everything about immigration, I could do immigration and I do the same thing. You can do your taxes. If I wanted to put my 2019 taxes in there, I could do that. And it would bring up all the paperwork that goes with the taxes. If, of course, I put it in there, copied it into a page. And also the neat thing is that you can clip stuff from the internet. So if you're doing email and you find an email you like and you want to save it, well, you just clip it to a folder, if you will, or a notebook rather, in OneNote. And you can again search on that at a later time. So if you get something from Eastman, Eastman's blog, and it's an article that you want to keep, well, you just clip that to whatever folder. Maybe it's into a folder called, genealogy research items. And well, it's in that notebook that you created, and you can search on it. Okay. So let me try this, and I'm almost there. And if that doesn't work, well, I'll have to practice. I apologize for this. I thought I had it all worked out. Obviously, I don't. I don't have it all worked out. So let's try this. If this doesn't work, I could probably talk more about it than anything else. Okay, let's try this.
Yeah, give it a try.
Yeah, give it a try. Let's see what happens here. Well, it doesn't want to let me in, so I must have something wrong here. It won't let me into Zoom. Okay, well, okay. Let's go back. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in my browser, I opened my, I haven't used it, but I do have a Microsoft email. So I opened the OneNote here. Do you want to look at it and see what it looks like?
Okay, I tell you what I'll do. Okay,
Yeah.
Let me send my publisher thing, my PowerPoint to you, and then maybe I can get in it that way. How about that?
I don't have my email here, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
But can we?
Okay, well, yeah,
we do
open up
this for the next-
OneNote. Open up OneNote and I can probably go through it. Okay.
This is what OneNote looks like. Let's see if I
Yeah.
can, is it working there for everyone?
Yeah, let's see if it works for me. Okay, no, that's not gonna work. Let's see, let's do this.
It's on.
Host has asked you to start your video. Okay, no.
So now
Laura's notebook. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, OneNote. Now, where do I go?
OneNote, and here's all of the different things up here, right?
Right, yeah, that's,
So this is.
yeah, it's under OneNote. Okay, whoops.
You hit
So
one.
OneDrive is
OneDrive,
everything,
OneNote.
everything, right?
Just go to OneNote. There you
And then
go.
OneNote is the notebook part of it.
Right. And so, okay, under a notebook, like if you click on, well, first of all, when you set it up, it comes under, you can identify that your notebook it lists all your notebooks down the page. You can add more and you can have umpteen number of notebooks. Okay.
Okay.
And within a notebook, you can have a section. And so let's say I have, okay, one of the things that I have is I have, actually, I have 9 notebooks, which is part of my notebook. And so like you have United States, okay, that's a section. Oh no,
Well,
that's
this is
United section.
Untitled
Untitled
section.
section. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a section. I have under my notebooks, I have such things, and they're a combination of my personal information that I want, like housing and taxes and insurance certificates, everything related to things that I want that is personal to me. I have genealogy things, okay, and then I also under the genealogy I have computer stuff and like Apple sessions that Steve gives, and notes that I've taken at those. Photography, because that's another one of my interests is photography. And you can add all these, there's a notebook name. And then within those notebooks, and if I take one called under genealogy, one of the next grouping is to, if you want, you can go right into what's called sections. And you could have sections such as, say, immigration, okay? So that would be your section. Now you could also have birth, you could have death, you could have marriage, any vital records, or you could group those all together under one called a group section. And you could have multiple group sections within that notebook. So for example, within my notebooks, I have such things as, like I said, some of them are listed as, where's my note? Where is it?
For some reason.
Oh, there it is. I have the 9 notebooks I have one called Classes, Societies, and Webinars. I have another one called Computer Hardware and Software, Family History Research, Genealogy Research Toolkit, Genetic Genealogy, Locality Guides, Personal Notebook, Photography, and Travel and Vacations. Those are groups of sections. So under each one of those, and if I look at something like Genealogy Toolkit, I happen to just coincidentally have 8 sections. And again, it's like a divider in a notebook or in a binder is your sections, okay? And a group of sections, of course, is a group. And it would be like either, you could break up your notebook into that much detail if you need to. Or you could just have, if you wanted to, you could have 2 notebooks, or you could have 1 for that matter. You could have 2 notebooks, personal and genealogy. And then you could have all the sections, which would be, so it'd be like a binder of genealogy. And then under that would be all the different tabs, which in this case are called sections. Okay. And within each of those tabs is where you put, or into each one of those sections is where you put your pages, which can have all my list of pages, which is, which I said earlier. Which, let's see, trying to find a list. Well, remember what I said. They were to-do lists, photos, videos, all those things you could do. And they're all searchable, okay? And so it works out very nicely.
You put in them, inside them.
And you can get as, anal with it as you want, or as however helpful that you want. A lot of people, instead of having binders with Evernote, you would use Evernote, which has the same structure. They may call it a little different, but it's the same structure. And you might have, well, if you'd have binders, you could have a binder, like, for example, I have one that says, when I was doing binders, which was researching German ancestors. So that's a physical binder, and I have all these articles in there that I would use as guides for me to do German ancestors, like research on them, like, where the repositories are, how do you read German script? How do you, well, all those different things. You could do immigration, in the United States, where did they leave from? All the various articles that come across your desk. Well, with OneNote, that binder then becomes a notebook with sections. Or if you want, a notebook with sections. And then all your different pages that are in there are there, okay? Now, the nice thing is that you can search. Like if you see that right next to where you got your, say,
Yeah,
show
here.
search, if you click on that, go ahead and click on that. Up in the search box, you put, say you've got a whole bunch of whatever. I would put, say, German, or I would put immigration, and it would bring up all the pages, whatever kind of things they are, okay? Pictures, videos, whatever, or actual pages, or PD documents, Adobe documents, or wherever they have the name of immigration somewhere in the document, okay? It will bring them up and you'll get a list, and then you can go through. If you want to make it a little bit better, you could put US immigration. Then it would only be US immigration. So it's like what do they call it? Boolean search. Yeah, Boolean search or whatever it's called. And so you can do that with OneNote. Now, the way you get to, so that's a very good feature, I think, is that you can find, so you don't really need to be really worried about where you put it in your notebooks, okay? Because you can always find it through the search. So you don't have to have, umpteen number of books. The reason why I got so many books or notebooks and sections is I went hog wild. I shouldn't have done that because I actually have, let's see, I can tell you how many I have, which is ridiculous because I counted them. I think I got it here. I have something, well, I already said 9. Yeah, I said I've had 9. Let's see if I got this. Yeah, I guess. Oh yeah, here we go. It was on this page. I have 9 notebooks, 50 section groups, over 150 sections, okay, and over 1,200 pages, okay. And you can also, which I did mention, you can also subdivide your pages into subpages, which I've not done. I have way too many sections and way too many well, not pages. You can never have too many pages, but I have way too many section groups, and I need to work on that. But that's another issue. But anyway, now what the other nice thing about this is if you go, Laura, if you go up to your right-hand corner of your screen, up there next to the, what is that, the green B up at the top, way at the top, yeah. Next to that is a funny looking gray thing to the left.
Yeah.
Okay, you click on that, that's your extensions.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you click on that, okay, it will bring up, now you only have, it looks like you only have one extension, a Cisco, but you can add Evernote Web Clipper to the extension list.
Nice.
So if you're on the internet and you find something on the internet that you want to save, you click on that extension, okay? And that list will drop down and it'll say OneNote. And so if you click on that, okay, OneNote Web Clipper. And if you click on that, then it will bring up a screen which is similar to Evernote, where the options are, let's see, I've got all of this written down if I can ever get it to work. Okay.
I'm not finding the extension offhand. Well, maybe that means.
No, you have to load it. You have to load it in there.
So you have to find it outside of here. And
yeah, you have to load it in there. And then once it's loaded, you have to go to the Microsoft
App Store,
page.
whatever they call it.
Yeah, and you have to look for the OneNote Web Clipper
Okay.
extension for Chrome, and then you add it in there. But once you do that, like if I find something, article on the internet that I want to keep, you go up to that screen, up to that little gray thing, because you already got it set up, and it brings a list of your extensions, one of which will be the OneNote Web Clipper. You clip on that, okay, and then a little box will drop down, and the options for that in that box is a full page, okay, a region, and I'm not quite sure what a region is, quite honestly, an article, or a bookmark. So a full page would be the exact full page, of what you're looking at, okay? I don't use full page and I don't use region. I use article, okay? You could, and that will bring up the entire article, okay? That's what you're saving or you're clipping. If you do bookmark, which is nice too, then you come up and there's a list, or it's the actual bookmark of where to find it that is your clipping. And so when you bring that over to OneNote, then what you see on the screen then, in this area where your thing is flashing, cursor is flashing, you will see, if you're doing the article, you will see the article, okay? If you're doing the bookmark, you will see the actual bookmark to get to that article on the internet. To me, the danger with that is, if the article goes away on the internet, which they do, you've lost it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you
But
might
if
want to
you
flip it.
save it as an article, you have it forever.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then when you click on that, or down at the bottom of that box, the next under bookmark, it says location, and it shows you have a drop down box there which says where you want to save or clip that item to, and you can identify. If you don't do anything, it will go into a notebook called Quick Notes, which is going to list over here underneath your notebook, okay? And then you can go there, and then you can move it wherever you want, which is click and drop, and and scroll and move it around. No big deal, no problem. Okay, and then you can move it to a specific other notebook that you have, or yeah, there's your click notes, okay? And it shows up as a titled page, whatever the title of your page is that you're saving under click notes. And then you can move that by clicking on that page, then you can move it, okay? And move it around, and I'll show you how you do that. I can show you that. Okay, but going back to that box, as you click on, under the location is a box that says clip, and you clip that, and it comes up. The result is that the clip is successful. It tells you that. And then under that, it says view in OneNote. And if you click on the view in OneNote, it brings up the page, click notes, with the location of where, it will come up with the location. In this case, is Quick Notes, and it'll come up with the name of the page that you have saved. Okay. All right. So does anybody have any questions? Oh, one more thing. Okay. If you click, Laura, click on, let's see, click on these three little square, vertical things over here to the far left, where it says Laura's notebook. Click on the purple boxes. Well, you could do that too. Okay, that's fine. Okay. If you do add notebook, so you just click on add notebook, well, then that brings that up. Okay. And if you click, say create, well, put a name in there, put anything in there. Okay. Then say create. Okay. And it's going to create a notebook for you. Okay. And it's going to bring that notebook up eventually, and it's empty. Now, if you look at the far bottom, okay, of the screen on the left, you have add a section or add a page. Right click on add a section. Just right click once on that.
It's not doing much.
Oh, you should. Well, go over to the word. Go over to the word and try that. Oh, it did. Okay. Well, just double click on it then. Okay, and there's the section name. Okay, and you then identify, in other words, that's your tag if you want, okay?
Mhm.
Or it's, you know, whatever, however you want to do it. And then add a page works the same way. You could get a blank page. You already have one, okay? And if you
And-
wanted to say you want to take some notes at a lecture, well, you would just go in there under the lecture. You'd pay a section. You'd say Genealogy Club meeting January 7th, 2011. You want to add a page, you put add a page, and then you can write over here anything you want. Okay. And you can write with, if you go up here to draw, you have the capability of, you see where in the taskbar there's a draw. You go up there. No, well, you could print, you can type there, but if you go over here to draw, see where there you go. Then
Yeah.
you have,
Oh,
you can
so
use
write
various
all
pens
there.
and so on if you want to draw, or if you have one of those pens that you, there you go. You can use one of the
highlight
pens that they use now. Okay.
That's neat. I'm gonna
Okay.
have to-
I mean, it's, hey, it's free. Okay.
Yeah,
It's free, and it's, I think an advantage to it is not only that it's free, but also that it's Microsoft. So, you know, they're going to take care of it. And so far, anyway. And what's the other? Let's see. Okay, it's free. Everything is saved. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. Everything is saved in the cloud. So that means that you can view it on multiple devices, PC, laptop, or iPad. In fact, you know, I was looking at mine under my iPad. Okay. I didn't even use a PC or a laptop. I used my iPad. I wouldn't try it on the phone. You could, but iPhone, but there's no monthly upload limitations or storage size limitations like there is on Evernote. There is no fee like there is. Now, Evernote has a free version, but it's very basic, and you really don't get much capacity. And so they had what they called a plus version, which was what I was using, and which was working fine. And then the premium version was for business. Well, they updated the premium version, and I think personally they screwed up the plus version. But you know, maybe somebody else can get it to work.
Mhm.
And I already mentioned that it's part of Microsoft Office, and this also has web clip capability, and it has a search capability. So that's pretty much what I was going to say in a
well,
nutshell.
I'm not clear where to get the extension, but one
Okay, well, let's see now.
extension, if I just Google it, right?
Yeah, you should be able to,
Maybe it'll pop up there.
there,
This one in the
there
web
you go.
store. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, yeah,
Yeah.
add to Chrome, there.
Okay.
Then if you add extension, if you go up there, might have to give it a second or two. If you click on that, there you go. If you click on the gray thing,
Well, that's yeah.
there
you go.
you go. Now it's there. Now you can use it. Okay. And you
Uh-huh.
have to sign in with your Oh, you do need a Microsoft account. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You do need to have a Microsoft account, which is free, of course.
Okay.
Unless you have a school account. If you have a
Or
school
work.
account that you
Or
can
work.
use, but I would imagine everybody's using that. So it's probably one account for all the students, probably, rather than your individual account.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely going to give this a try.
Okay.
Looks handy.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
let me have the screen back, and I'll see if I can answer Steve. What is it? Steve, right? That had the question about the.
You said there was an Irish one tomorrow, and I looked both on Facebook and the regular site, and they have a bunch of Nordic stuff on Saturday all day, but
Well, I'm pretty sure it was tomorrow. Well, maybe I'm wrong on that, Steve. Okay. Let me get
you're
back
right,
to
I'm
that.
sure, but
Oops.
I can't find it. That's the only problem.
Okay. Let me share the screen and see if I can. Let's see. How do I get to that? Well, okay.
You said family history
Laura, can you go to
library.
What?
Well, here.
Family history library web page
And they have the classes on both Facebook and the regular site.
and Facebook.
This would be it, right?
Yeah, it should
Family
be.
History Library.
Yeah, right here,
Yeah,
family
that's
history
it.
classes and webinars.
So
Class
are we,
schedule for January.
That's not there. That's very
It's not
limited.
there, okay.
Well, go take a look, but it's very limited. It's, doesn't have as many as the other ones.
and you're looking for Irish?
Well, you said it was tomorrow,
That's what I thought it was. I'm sorry. I
nothing
guess
on
I
tomorrow.
misspoke. I thought there
but
was one on-
Saturday's all day.
Oh, I take that back, Steve. I take that back. It's on Family Tree Magazine site.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay, I'll look
Okay,
that up.
that's where the problem is.
Is that free? Can you get to it?
The class is not free.
No, I
it's,
think they
90
charge for
bucks or
that if
something.
I looked at it.
Yeah, it's not free.
I think it was 40 bucks.
Yeah, I think it's either 40 or 90 bucks. I don't know which it is.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that on there?
You're right. I was wrong. It's on the Family
What's
Tree
this?
one.
Yeah, I saw that.
Steve, I noticed on Family Search, there are some Irish classes out in March, if any of those help you.
Family search, okay.
Back on where you were on the webpage.
Yeah, I know they had something on Irish somewhere along the line out in 2020.
Might check some of those Irish websites also to see if they ever have anything. This kind of place. Have you looked at these to see if they ever have classes?
The trouble, I think, with Roots Ireland, they don't have County Louth online yet. They got most of them, most of the counties.
They're working on it, but they don't have it?
Well, I don't even know that they're working on it. It's,
They're
Yeah.
shut down.
My
That's-
computer's so
they
slow.
put County Louth in the closet and they're kind of hiding it, I
I
think.
think all of Ireland is shut down, lock and stock and barrel right now. At least
Mhm.
I
that's
bet
what
you
the
the
So-
bars aren't.
State Department.
They have a lot of counties on, but not the one that I
I'll
want.
bet you the bars aren't closed. I shouldn't say that. That's not very nice.
They don't have bars, they don't have pubs or whatever.
Which county was it you're looking for?
Louth, Louth, right there.
I see,
It's middle of the middle one.
Yeah.
Middle of middle.
this one.
That's where all the Irish in Bailey's Harbor, the old time Irish, every one of them came from County Louth.
Really?
Huh.
Yeah,
I'm writing that down.
McCardles, Price, McKinley, Muckian, all those guys.
That's interesting. And then it's about an hour, so we'll wrap it up, but I want to quickly show you how I'm using box.com.
Now, how's
that
this
right?
working here? How'd you find that?
My sister and I have this, and we haven't organized anything at all, but I've been putting a bunch of genealogy things. This is like having a portable hard drive in the air. And here's a book that someone gave me with all this writing in it. So I just scanned the pages and now I can share it with other people. And that's one,
Wow.
look at all that stuff. I can't read it.
Why? Because
Wow.
it's cursive or because it's in
No,
the-
I haven't had time. And not only that, I have an extra large one because I signed up for this when they first went online. And so I'm really lucky. I think this is the one. My sister scanned over 900 photographs that were in this family scrapbook from the
Wow.
turn of the century.
Oh, wow.
And fortunately, a lot of them have people's names on them. So we have a whole huge notebook of all these pictures, and we put them all up here online, so now we can share them with people. And this family would went on holiday, and they were in Grand Rapids, Michigan, but they had a holiday home in Maketawa. So we've shared some of the photographs there, and the History Society put them in their little books that they print on the history of the area. So it's kind of fun to be able to have all that. And then now the notebook's gone. My sister gave it to the archives over there. So while we have all these photographs, but it's really nice to have them online and to be able to share them with everyone. So I thought I'd show you that. And
Yeah.
that's on Box. Box, if you looked at that list I showed you earlier, they give you 10 gigabytes of storage for free, whereas Dropbox gives you 2. So this is just a place to put stuff that you can share with people, but we don't really have it well, we don't have it too well organized, like with the note system. But like here's Fish Creek, how about that from 1910 when they would come up from Green Bay. My sister added some modern day pictures here, but there are some of the ladies.
Oh,
So I thought I'd just show you how we've been using Box.com to save things.
I'd never heard of it, but that
Anyone,
looks good.
Anyone know where this is? In Fish Creek? I think it's right up there.
Well, where is that?
Well, these are all these ladies who would come up from Green Bay. They had what
Wow.
they called the sewing club in Green Bay. And they'd all come up and go to different things in Door County.
I've seen
They
that.
come up by boat? Do they come up by boat?
Oh yeah, they came up by boat. Some of the pictures here in Ephraim, Wilson's, I think it is, or something like that. I don't know if it was Wilson's at the time.
Yeah, it was.
But you
I'm
can
pretty
see
sure it
my,
was.
yeah, there's the boat right there.
I'll be darned.
So that's kind of fun, but of course, we have a lot of pictures from Green Bay also. Is that, which hotel is that?
No, where was that
Thorpe
building?
Hotel?
Where was that building? In
I think
the
this
Anderson?
is it Anderson Hotel?
Anderson Hotel? I think so. We stayed there back in the 60s.
oh, did it burn down or
This is
something?
Thorpe, see Hotel
Oh, Thorpe.
Thorpe, right there.
That's
So,
the B&B now?
My sister shared some of these pictures with the Ephraim Historical Society and things. So they do have some of them. But those are just the Door County ones.
Hmm.
But it's fun to have those, and it's fun to have them digitized so we can share them. Right?
We did that through Dropbox in our family, so.
Yeah. Right. They all work about the same. They
Yep.
all do the same job. But they do preserve pretty nice pictures. Right?
Oh yeah, they did a great job, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are great pictures.
Yeah, aren't they fun? And we try to identify some of the people. It's not easy. Right? I'd love to know
Yeah.
all these people. I know one of them's Emily Murphy Coles, because she was a good friend. You know, the Murphy Coles who had the farm over in Egg Harbor.
Yep.
She's one of these.
Wow, oh, there's somebody swimming. What's
Horseshoe
that?
Bay,
Got
was
a
it?
hat on,
Horseshoe
or
Bay
is that a-
Farms.
Yeah. Yeah. And anyway, they're great, aren't they?
They are great.
This is actually my grandmother right here.
Now, they'd go up for a month or so, or would it be all summer?
I think they came up just on short visits and then they'd stay and then go back to Green Bay. I don't think they stayed all that long.
They all have white dresses on.
Yeah.
That was the
Isn't that
thing, huh?
interesting? That was the style back then.
Huh.
But look at the swimming suits.
Well,
And
yeah,
they're
the swimming
in
suits.
the water.
Yeah.
How about that? So anyway, I thought I'd show you how we're doing this, and we're not organized. We just throw them up there. I've got to get more organized like you are, Tom.
Oh, I'm not organized.
Now,
Don't believe
the
me.
one thing that's missing is the names on it.
Yeah.
And after another 20 years, you're not going to find any names at all.
You're absolutely right. The one scrapbook, a lot of the names are written there on
Right.
the pictures, but the other one not. So we don't know them all. We're trying to find a few of them, but I
So
don't know all of them.
Then what the kids and grandkids do if they find those kind of pictures in a box, they'll
Yeah.
throw away because they don't know who they are.
Yeah, what I did was I put a title on all of them in Roots Magic, where I keep them by each person. And then I put the names of all the people in the photo. My mother was very good about putting it on the backs of the pictures.
Or if you could put the place or the subject, something like Fish Creek, that would even help.
Yeah, well, my sister put those up and she did put some of the cities in there.
Good.
So, yeah, but we do need to go through and put more information in.
Take
for
some
sure.
time to do it, but it's worth it. I agree
Yeah.
with Steve that nobody's going to care if you don't have the whole package together. And it's
Yeah.
got to be digital for the young people. They won't take any time to look through stuff.
You're right. Yeah, and that way you can share it with lots and lots.
And yeah, you just put it out on
But they're beautiful. They're wonderful pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway, we're over an hour, so thanks for coming. And thanks for showing us, Tom, even though we didn't get to work smoothly. I'm definitely going to go home and give that a try because I need to get more organized than I am.
They have, I didn't mention this, but they have updated it. There's a OneNote that was 2016, and then there's a OneNote for Windows 10. And the OneNote for Windows 10 is the latest version, although 2016 version works just fine too.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. And I do like the way you can clip things right off the web. Like
Mhm.
that's very
Mhm.
handy.
Most of the note-taking programs can do those kind of clips.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they work
Yeah,
through the
that was-
browsers. They'll kind of funnel into the browser. And so ultimately, if you can clip in a browser, you can, or clip a
Yeah.
picture, you can do
Yeah.
it.
See, I have a clipping tool, but then you have to clip it, save it, and then upload it.
See, in
Just-
Apple, you don't have to. They've just got the box with the arrow and you just send it to notes and they say, which folder do you want it in? You hit it, it's done. It's there.
Yeah, nice.
You don't have to clip it and save it and pass it through anything. And I
Okay.
mean, that's why I said I'd be happy to go through that. It's much simpler than what Tom's is. It's not quite as detailed, but it's
Mhm.
got most of the bells and whistles. It's just not, Apple's moving more towards one big folder. You can put some subfolders in it, but they just want to, they're going more towards using the search feature to find anything you want.
So keyword searching.
As opposed to having to have 1,000 folders or 1,000
Right.
data.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just say, put it like, I've got a whole bunch of all my fly fishing rivers and spots that I fished in. All I have to do is put on there the Prairie River and it'll pull up all of the Prairie Rivers.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I like that.
And I should have, Steve, I should have that too in OneNote. I'm way over. You know,
So you need naming-
it's the engineer in me. I can't help it.
Well, I know you guys have to, you know, and I may go to 4 subfolders in my notes.
Yeah, I know.
And after
I
that,
understand.
once I know it's in the field family, if I'm doing genealogy, which is
Right.
my other side, I just search on a name or I search on a place and it pops it right up for me. So
So you need naming consistency is what it comes
Oh,
down.
absolutely. Oh, gosh, yes.
That gets back to library cataloging.
Oh, yeah.
actually, what they're trying to get away from that too in Apple, from what I've read on some of the future things, is that they're looking at it, if there is any word in the document anywhere, it'll
Mhm.
find it for you in a fraction of a second.
Yeah, as long as the OC, they can read it. The OC can read it.
Right.
OCR, yeah.
If you do OCR, if it's scanned or if it's a photo, it's a little bit more cumbersome, but not. And if it's a digital document, obviously it's very simple for it to search.
Mhm.
Well, okay, thank you. We'll have
Thank
to
you.
figure out what we're doing next week, or 2 weeks from now. But thanks for coming and thanks for all the information. Thanks, Tom.
You bet. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Everyone.
Later.
Yeah.